Some of you may have noticed that Luke's genealogy and Matthew's genealogy for Jesus is different from one another. And if you look at like critical scholars, they'll say it's just a simple biblical contradiction. The two didn't know what they were talking about. Well, that's bunk, because there's ancient explanations for this that go way back into the ancient world, and that's what we're going to look at right now. And if you go and read my article on the advice with Kevin Dwayne Hughes, I have 10 sections of write-up that explain what's going on here, as well as discrediting the critical scholars. Anyhow, what we have going on here is, if you see in Matthew's genealogy, it gets to where it says, and Jacob, the husband of Mary. Matthew is emphasizing that this is Joseph's line, but he knows that Jesus is not biologically related to Joseph. Luke, on the other hand, starts out and says that Jesus was the son of Joseph, or it was supposed, and then goes on to say the son of Heli. Well, Luke's genealogy is the lineage of Mary, because Jesus is the biological child of Mary, but not the biological child of Joseph. It's important to have both genealogies there. One, Matthew is writing to a Jewish audience, and he's establishing the legal right for Jesus to sit on the throne. Jews used paternal lineage. In other words, if you want to say someone has the right to sit on the throne of King David, you have to show it through fathers. Mothers cannot be included in that lineage. So whenever Matthew was talking about that, he can't sit there and say, Jesus, the son of Mary, the son or the daughter of, and the reason being because Jews would immediately reject that genealogy. Same thing with Luke. If Luke would have straight up said, Jesus, the son of Mary, the daughter of Heli, the Jews would have rejected that immediately. By the way, Luke was writing to a Gentile audience. That's one reason why Luke traces the lineage all the way back to Adam, because Adam is the father of the Gentiles as well. So by tracing all the way back to Adam, he shows that Jesus came for everybody. Whereas Matthew only traces back to Abraham, because Abraham's the father of the Hebrews, ultimately the great-grandfather of the Israelites, showing that Jesus is indeed an Israelite. But regardless, Luke had his reasons for tracing Mary. Matthew had his reasons for tracing Joseph. What we ultimately end up with is three means of which Jesus can sit on the throne of David. Matthew's showing the legalistic means, Luke is showing the biological means, and then the third means you see in Samuel, where God can choose whoever he wants to sit on the throne of David. Now, another thing we need to consider is that whenever people wrote in the ancient world, we cannot take the way we look at modern documents, the way modern society works, and then project our modern views onto ancient documents. We need to look at the way ancient documents were written, the way things were done back then. And we look at the way things were done back then, it would have been odd for Luke to say that this is Mary's genealogy. It just would have been odd. Because he was writing to an ancient audience. He wasn't writing to us. Now, if he was writing it in the modern day, sure, he would have said, Jesus, the son of Mary, the daughter of Heli, and went from there. But he wasn't writing to us. He was writing to an ancient audience. Anyhow, read the article I have on the advice with Kevin Dwayne Hughes. It has the same title as this video here. I get into a lot of detail. I even talk about Saint Anne and Saint Joachim, or however you say his name. I think it would be with a Y sound in the original Hebrew, but when it's translated into English, it has a J sound. Anyhow, go read that article. I get a lot into it. I also talk about why the critical scholars and their ideas cannot just simply be bought. Go read it. Go check it out. Y'all take care. God bless.